So let me take this opportunity to define for you, simply and straightforwardly, what democratic socialism means to me. It means building on what Franklin Delano Roosevelt said when he fought for guaranteed economic rights for all Americans. And it builds on what Martin Luther King Jr. said in 1968 when he stated, and I quote, "This country has socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor," end of quote.
Hello and welcome back to The Honest Left. Today I wanted to make a video discussing democratic socialism. What is democratic socialism and why is there a giant movement of millions of Americans who have come out in support of democratic socialism? If at any point in this video you enjoy it, make sure to leave a like to let the YouTube algorithm know that you like my content and you want to see more, subscribe to keep up to date, and leave a comment below discussing democratic socialism or any other form of government that you like, and let's get right into it. Okay, so democratic socialism. It has been gaining a lot of traction in the last few years thanks to Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who is in fact a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. So simply put, democratic socialism is a political system that is free of corruption and works for the people, and allows an economy where all people can thrive instead of an extremely small percentage. Democratic socialism is the combination of two political ideals, one of them being socialism and the other one being democracy. Now, socialism is a system in which all people work together for the betterment of all people. Now, this is in stark contrast to the common misconception that it is communism. Communism is a system in which the government has ultimate control, whereas socialism is a system in which the people decide what the government is to do, and they hold the majority of the country's resources. Democracy is a process in which the people directly vote to decide what is enacted. Now, in the United States, we have a combination of this. We have democracy, but we also have a republic. So the people are allowed to vote on things, but we also have the Republican idea of certain people in the government representing those groups of people that are for different ideas. Democratic socialism is a system in which we hold socialist ideals, i.e. a healthcare system in which medical personnel are paid directly by and essentially work for the people instead of insurance companies, but we vote on them in a democratic process. So why is it that so many Americans, more and more every day, every month, every year, seem to be in support of democratic socialism? Well, in the US, we have a heavily capitalist system. The United States has long been the capitalist haven. The term used here is unfettered capitalism. This means that businesses are largely deregulated. And with the population of the United States growing more product dependent and more product driven every year, these corporations and individuals have been able to make an egregious amount of money through this system. So much so that the top 1/10 of 1% of Americans own more wealth than the bottom 90% of Americans. So why do Americans believe that this is a problem? Well, very simply put, these incredibly wealthy people are essentially able to buy our government through a collection of different political processes and systems that allow them to do so. Through these processes, the incredibly wealthy individuals and corporations can get certain laws, regulations, or deregulations passed through government that really only benefit them. Examples of these different political systems and processes are lobbying. Lobbying, in theory, is a system that allows individuals or groups to speak freely and get certain laws passed through the government. And this does, in a lot of cases, work this way. For instance, you could have a group lobbying for teachers, and they go and they try to get higher pensions or higher pay. But also, more often, you have lobbying groups that represent big business. Now, the goal of these lobbyists for big business is to further deregulate the federal government and get certain things passed through to either increase profits or get more subsidies or plenty of other things as well. These lobbying groups are paid by a third party to lobby on the business's behalf. It is literally their job. A study done between 2008 and 2010 on 30 different corporations, including General Electric, Boeing, and FedEx, found that they spent $476 million on lobbying in that time period, and in return got almost $11 billion in tax rebates. And lobbying in the United States has now become a $3 billion a year industry, and this includes many former Congress members becoming lobbyists after their retirement from Congress. Another system that is put into place that helps these corporations is PACs. PAC is an acronym for Political Action Committee. A political action committee is a group put together usually during an election process to support one candidate or oppose another. A PAC is created when individuals or a group put a pool of money together to support a certain candidate or party. When a group receives or spends more than $1,000 in the hopes to influence a federal election and then registers with the FEC, it then becomes a PAC, a Political Action Committee. Now, a PAC used in the normal sense is heavily regulated. They can only contribute $5,000 per election to a candidate or their committee. They can only contribute $15,000 a year to a political party, and they can only donate $5,000 a year to another PAC. But there is a big loophole here that allows them to spend unlimited amounts of money independently. So if they're not directly donating to this candidate or to a political party, but they are running ads in favor of this candidate independently, they can spend an unlimited amount of money on that. Now, this loophole really became prominent in 2010 after two Supreme Court decisions. The first one being Citizens United versus the FEC, and the second one being SpeechNow.org versus the FEC. After these court rulings, this loophole was kind of put into place that says it is not illegal for a PAC to spend unlimited amounts of money as long as they are doing it independent of a party or a candidate or another PAC. Now, this gave rise to super PACs, which are very, very, very large pools of money that operate independent of the candidate or party, but still try to influence an election. Now, these systems have allowed big businesses and wealthy individuals to essentially buy the government and control what is passed and what is not, and what is regulated and what is not. Now, when you have an almost unlimited amount of wealth, you have no problem donating millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to these super PACs. And the candidates that these super PACs independently represent is almost beholden to this money. And so they are almost beholden to what these people want them to do, because without these systems, they think they might not have been elected at all. Now, I believe that this is why people are getting behind democratic socialism. Not only do we want to create a government where all people can help each other for the betterment of all, but we also want a say in what policies are passed and what leaders are elected. And that means everyone, not just the big businesses with the super PACs, but the small people too. This is a great example of why we are so supportive of Bernie Sanders, because he does not take any of this money. It is all smaller dollar donations. Now, he does take union PACs, but that to him is a moral decision. He believes that taking the union money is morally right, but taking the corporate money is not. So I hope this video helped you realize that democratic socialism is indeed not communism, and we will not become Venezuela. Now, if you enjoyed this video, again, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Let's have a discussion down in the comments, and thank you for watching.